All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Amanda Parker, and today I am dressed like a highlighter, which is appropriate because I work for Sharpie at Newell Brands. I'm a consumer insights manager, and joining me on stage today is Dawn Sloan, one of my partners.
Yeah.
She runs the Consumer Collective, which is a community, say that 5 times fast, for our baby and writing brands. So give it up for Dawn, everybody. Woo! So quick story, a couple months ago, I was asked to join a meeting, as we often are, because my job is just meeting and email, and meetings about emails and emails about meetings. You know how the story goes. And so my senior director of insights came up with this big idea, pie in the sky. We must do something different. And so, something different, I think to myself. I'm turning this big idea over in my head, and it just so happens that I was asked to lead the initiative to turn around our fuel cycle partnership in our community into something that could be bigger and much better. So the pie in the sky idea became, hey, let's pursue this community, let's make it something useful and actionable for us, and let's get this thing rocking. Because originally, when we first started, there was no dedicated resource to our partnership on our end. So we weren't paying much attention. We were pretty intimidated by all the tools that they had to offer. We didn't want to learn all of it because who wants to learn another DIY tool? Not realizing that they were also full service and quasi-partnership. Our team was confused about the use cases, and they weren't really clear on how exactly to leverage this amazing thing that I realized was the community. So I got together with Dawn and her team, put together a bunch of rock stars, brainstormed a bunch of ideas, and we refocused. So we took our audience and we actually shrunk it down to be more useful to both writing and baby. We decided on specific use cases for our community, and we'll talk about that later on today as well. And we also helped our team become empowered and trained up. So not just boring 1-hour trainings, I'm talking engaging workshops, activities, and challenges. We actually have a March Madness AI challenge going on right now, which is super fun. And so eventually, happy ending, today as it stands, we've renewed our partnership with Fuel Cycle for the next couple of years, and everybody's enjoying a piece of the pie. And I'll talk about our community strategy a little bit later on in this presentation. But for now, we're going to talk a little bit about business issues that all of us face as insight professionals and how communities can potentially help solve these for you. Bear with me, I'm a millennial. I love texts, I love GIFs, I love emojis, and I love memes. So we're gonna play Guess the Business Insight Challenge, Meme Edition. I'm gonna give you 3 memes that are very relatable, hopefully to most of us, and how our communities solve for them. So to begin, has anybody seen the movie Benchwarmers? I see you laughing, yes.
Yeah.
Low quality sample. We have a lot of people who say who they are is not really who they are.
Yeah.
And our poor panel companies, guys, they are really fighting the good fight because they're having to throw out anywhere from 20 to 50% of their sample for every single study. Meanwhile, with our community, we're combating low quality sample. Yeah. And here's how. A community is like a swimming pool, okay? You fill it up with members, you clean it up a little bit because nobody gets it 100% right the first time, and then you enjoy it all summer long. In order to get these high quality communities though, you have to be really focused in who you're recruiting. So we went from a let anybody in, hey, let's try to get 10,000 people, to a more focused audience of 2,000 to 4,000, depending on the segment we were trying to go after. Of course, making sure we grabbed our subgroups as well. For baby, first-time expectants, for writing, the shopper, the Gen Z, the possibly alpha in the future. So with this, we are able to engage and connect with our consumers, and we're able to go deeper in our insights and actually bring value to the business. Next up, does anybody relate to this? I see you in the back, yes. I'm glad it landed with somebody. It's fine, we're fine, you guys. Everything's on fire, but we're fine. So to me, this relates to doing more with less. We have less time. We have less resources. We have less teammates. We have less focus, if you will, because we're in meetings all day. And so communities help you break the cycle and adapt to doing more with less. In my mind, with a community, more actually equals more. So stick with me here, there's about to be a lot of words behind me. More sample and access gives you more engagement. More engagement allows for flexibility in your work, and then you can discover new ways of researching, which we'll touch on later. When you open up to a variety of methodologies and ways of researching, you bring more value and proactive insights to your stakeholders. So Dawn's going to touch a little bit on some of the tools that we've used at Fuel Cycle to help us do more with less, because Fuel Cycle specifically as a vendor has a lot of integrated things in their research environment. Go ahead, Dawn.
Great, thank you. At Fuel Cycle, I lead what we call our lifestyles and consumer brands vertical. That means that everything that you love and enjoy, that comes under my responsibility. There's another sector that's around finance and health and insurance and utilities. That's not my sweet space. I enjoy working with brands like Amanda's Newell brands. Within my responsibility is I have a team that was dedicated to this account. And so we wanted to make sure that we understood the needs of the client, needs of Amanda. She had a very strong mission to make sure we turned this around. We started with the foundation of understanding and teaching the team just what it is that Fuel Cycle could offer. Whether it was quantitative needs from IDIs, focus groups, asynchronous, you name it, dashboard, or anything we could do within qualitative, we supported Amanda with. And then, of course, we have a full suite of quantitative tools as well. So any of the types of pricing, conjoint, max diff, turf, we were able to support that as well. Plus, we have a full staff of researchers. We have a research services arm within Fuel Cycle. A lot of people don't know that about us. We can support research.
I had no idea to start.
So Amanda really wanted to have an understanding of how we can approach the research needs from her team, whether it was supporting the team, learning the platform. We invented what we called a parachute program. So we taught them how to use the platform side by side. We would sit with them as they were building and give them advice on how to work through it. Then we also offered a hybrid approach where they did some and we did some. And then, of course, the soup to nuts full service that we're all familiar with. That is also something my team supported with. And then because of Fuel Cycle's open AI capabilities, we were able to say, Amanda, we have opportunity to work with you through that open AI with other tools, but as well as we have AI integrations. So helping her do her work faster was really something that I think was integral to the partnership.
Absolutely.
It allowed you to do more with more, right?
Absolutely. So essentially all of these different capabilities, from quant to qual to AI integrations to the full service aspect and the side-by-side parachuting model as well, we were able to save sample, save time, save resources, and add value. And if I can brag just a little bit on this team, in 3 months, we completed 70 activities in our community, 7-0. So something pretty impressive to go from a tool that we had no idea to use to 70. And some of that was during Q4 too. So does Q4 really count? But onto our last meme. Some of you also may relate to this. Yes. Can anybody guess what I'm going to talk about? Yeah, AI. So everyone's talking about it, what to do with AI. It's this big scary thing. We all think it's coming for our jobs. It's going to end the world, et cetera, et cetera. But I just would like to challenge you to adapt like we have been doing all of these years in market research. So we started out on paper. Anybody remember those days? Mm-hmm. Punching cards, clipboards, binders. Thank goodness I was not around for this. My hand would have cramped up. And so paper to this day actually still has an appropriate form. It's called qualitative and focus groups and getting out in the wild and talking to people on the streets, maybe informally. But we don't use horse and buggy this day and age, except occasionally during celebrations or Christmas or something fun like my wedding, for example. Happy to talk about that after. But then we moved on and we evolved and adapted to phone research. So we were calling people, jotting down their answers. It was faster, it was better, but wasn't necessarily the best, unless you're calling somebody about their extended car warranty. Then it's perfect. Eventually, we evolved to online research, and notice how I picked a classic Mustang here. These things are not going away anytime soon. We all love them. They're fast, they're flashy, they're nice, they're powerful. And that's how online research is today. But we've got something else on the horizon that's actually here called synthetic panels and AI twins and artificial intelligence. And so notice how I didn't pick a flying car. This is the 2026 model. It's electric. Woogie, woogie, woogie. For some people, electric cars are not a good fit. Some people are scared of them. Some people are afraid they're not going to be reliable enough. Some people are huge enthusiasts. They're extremely enthusiastic about electric cars. And you guys, I had one 15 years ago. You're behind the curve, right? This is the same with AI. It's here today. It is with us. Some of us should use it. Some of us shouldn't, just like an electric Mustang. But again, the classic is not going away. And so how do we adapt in our industry with AI? Well, we stop fearing it, and we start letting it take us places. So for example, in our community, we have used our extremely solid sample, which I don't think I mentioned earlier. We're throwing out anywhere from 5 to 10%, maybe less, versus the 50%. And so we're using our community members to actually build AI twins, and we're playing with different use cases to try and figure out the best way that AI can fit into our research, along with integrated tools that Dawn and her team has, and as many of you have in your research tools. And so communities help us balance AI with real people. Not only are we using communities to experiment and build out different AI tools, but we're also keeping the consumer at the heart of everything we do. So Dawn will take us through a little bit of how we got here, because we didn't just start off doing this. We had to build a foundation and a strategy in order to use our community to the best of its ability.
Yeah, so when we had this challenge of reimagining what our partnership could be and how we can make sure that the Newell team gets the most value out of our partnership, we started with a foundational understanding of what it is that they needed, and we built for that. So we built for standards, we built for cadences, a dedicated team. Then we went on to, once we got those foundational things underneath us, we started thinking about there are additional needs that Amanda and her team has around ad hoc research, around just one-off questions, anything that we could do that would help speed us along and meet Amanda and her team's needs even faster. None of that would have been possible if we hadn't developed a tight partnership. You see that we dressed alike. We did this on purpose, not just because she's Sharpie and I wanted to compliment her, but because we're a good team.
Yes.
And so that's how we really wanted to make sure that everything we were doing was we were building it for the Newell team in order to get the most value out of the partnership. That's incredibly important to us. Earlier I mentioned that we also had the ability to start integrating with other solutions that Amanda uses. Amanda has partnerships, maybe with some of the people in this room. Fuel Cycle is open. We have open integrations where we partner with other research firms. You all offer things that maybe overlap with us, maybe not. Maybe there's some very unique things that you offer. Because of our open AI or open API, we're able to allow for access of the sample that we've curated and we've cleaned over and over again in order to give her access of that sample to the other solutions that she loves.
And cleaning the sample in this community is kind of like kicking somebody out of a club. Once you're out, the bouncer's not going to let you back in. And that's why the more you clean it, the better it gets, and the more you use it, the more engaged you are. So Dawn, do you want to touch a little bit on where we are now with our partnership?
Yeah, so now we've entered the sweet space of what's possible. Let our imaginations run. What's blue sky available for the Newell team? We try out new cutting edge techniques. We're looking at different use cases that maybe we hadn't imagined before. So looking at how we can just run with this open space. And she's great because she's asked our team to lead those pilots while her team focuses in on exactly what the brands are looking for from the consumer. She allows our team to really run with those blue skies.
Thank you, Dawn.
Of course.
So we're balancing AI with people, but we had to do this in a phased approach. So we built the basics with traditional research, stepped it up to agile. We're completing studies same day up to 3 days, one-off questions, quick polls, discussion boards, pretty much anything you could think of. And now we're in a sweet spot where 2026 I'm super pumped for, because we're getting experimental, we're getting proactive, we're delivering value to our stakeholders and trying to think of things in a different way. So I attended a presentation earlier today that was on making your insights sticky, and that's what we're trying to do now. We're thinking of different ways to deliver our insights to our cross-functional partners to where it doesn't just become a snoozy PowerPoint stuck in an OneDrive somewhere. Instead, it lives and it breathes and it evolves, and we get iterative as well when we start experimenting so that we can fail fast, fail quickly, and help really inform our teams and meet them where they're at. Oh, and we integrated AI. So to wrap up, going back to our memes, because of course, we combat low quality sample, we're working with less to do more, and we're integrating AI and balancing it with people, as well as building our digital twins. So we're bringing control into outrageous sample, we're bringing value to our stakeholders, and we're bringing balance to AI overwhelming and overtaking everything that we touch. So if I can leave you with one thought, it's that communities are a launching point for insights to become more. So don't sleep on your communities, folks. They can be a huge asset to you. Thank you. And I think we have time for questions.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Any questions? Corey.
70 projects in 3 months is a lot. Can you talk through like maybe some organizationalness behind that? Was it just on the fly? Did you build a research roadmap?
We did not build a research roadmap. We actually should have. We kind of flew by the seat of our pants, if I'm being honest, because we were turning things around so quickly in those 3 months because like our contract was expiring. We needed to figure out what was going on with this community. So a lot of our activities were to get our audience engaged. So we were kind of like filling out the audience, trying to figure out who was in our audience and who we wanted to keep in and who we wanted to kind of sift out. And so a lot of the activities were quick things, polls, discussion boards. We did a couple of focus groups. We did things like that. We also had bigger studies. So we had conjoints, we had concept testing. Did we throw, I think we threw like an early ad in there at one point. Mm-hmm. And then of course like the experimental stuff. So man, I'm like trying to like keep everything confidential, but we're like going into people's natural environments and figuring out things and white spaces about them, and that's as detailed as I can get. But there was a variety of activities that happened, and thankfully her team was able to step in for a lot of it because at the same time, you know, we were going through layoffs and we were restructuring and I started a new role and all of these things were happening at the same time. I'm sure you all understand the chaos in the world that we live in now. And so it was such a breath of fresh air to be like, hey, can you take this project? And they're like, yes, we got it. You wanna just approve this and we'll get it running? Sure. 2 days later, hey, we got your results, here they are. Amazing. I don't need a deck, I just need an email. Great, sent.
I don't know if you know this, Amanda, but before we came up on stage, I had asked my team, how many studies have we done since the 70 that you referenced earlier? So now in 4 months, the 70 was in 3 months, right?
Yeah.
In 4 months, we've done 87.
87? Okay, we gotta have like a party whenever we hit 100.
We do.
Any other
champagne?
Any other questions? Yes.
What are some of the ways that you're using these twins that you've built from your?
This is a great question. So the twins are kind of happening live. They actually came out last week. So the short answer is, I don't know yet. But in theory, what I would love to do is, if I have a concept test, for example, and I test 20 concepts with humans, I take those AI twins, and when the team's coming back to me with follow-ups and improvements, and they're like, hey, we got 3 more, throw it in with the synthetic, let them push out the results and see early stage, right? It's not your final validation, kind of how the tweaks worked out and how these other ideas based on the data and the modeling that it's trained off of perform in the end. Or if you shoot, let's say, a 25 question H&U or something like that, and you're like, shoot, I wish I would have asked this one question. Throw it in the synthetic, see what happens.
Are they generally being used to react to things or project things and such as that? Are they doing anything that's a little bit more?
That's a good question. I don't know yet, but no. So with digital twins, they're actually built off of real people. So you have like a one-to-one and then they level up to something bigger. Whereas general synthetic panel, and I think there's like 3 kinds of synthetic panel, you're kind of pooling the opinions of general demographics. So it's a different way to approach it. I would say because we have that one-to-one, we could be more predictive and like reacting to things rather than just culminating an opinion up into a pool and kind of half guessing and getting like 80% accuracy. It's more like 90 or more. But I'll let you know. Connect with me on LinkedIn and we'll talk.
The nice thing about having the digital twins, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that it does allow you to do some additional probing. And then once you get a hypothesis out of that probing, then you're able to go back into the community to get human validated response.
Yes, that's a good point. So it should be like human, AI, human, kind of in the process. And we're rebuilding our whole innovation process and validation at Newell right now. So I'm sure somebody will speak on that in a conference in a couple months. Any other? Yes.
Yeah, a couple questions. I'm just curious how you think about, like, for lack of a better term, responding to abuse, like 87 studies in 4 months, like that's a lot.
Yeah.
So you must be very engaged. And then second, like, how do you think about what to use a community for versus maybe like a fresh sample study, like what's kind of the difference there between
Yes. That is a challenge for sure, to try to parse out what to use community for versus regular panel. So panel's definitely good for massive quant, I would say. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Community is good for more focused things. So our audiences are specifically parents and writing users. And so if we want to explore new white spaces, that's probably not the appropriate place. The good thing with Fuel Cycle is that they can connect their tools to outside panel. So just like the API comes in, it also goes out. And you were asking about how we sort out the differences between the two. You had a second question though.
Yeah, just like there's 87 studies in 4 months.
Oh, yes, respondent abuse. So no, you're good. Bad word, it's okay. The reason why we actually did so many activities in a short period of time was to engage our panelists, because it's really boring when you sign up for a panel and you don't get a questionnaire for like 6 months. You're gonna drop out. And so we were pushing things out on a weekly basis for our 3 focused audiences, and that's how they piled up so quickly. What we do is we have Mandy, who's not here today. She is our community partner kind of manager, and she'll tap me on the shoulder and be like, hey Amanda, like, you have been asking a lot of stuff to a lot of people. Let's not wear them out. Let's give them a week's break or 2 weeks break. The other cool thing is you can focus who you push things out to. So if I want to push out to parents of 0 to 2 versus 3 to 5, et cetera, I can kind of push my, my quotas, pull my levers. And so you're really not everybody seeing all 80 activities. It's different folks with different activities. And we have a point system in our community. I know people can structure it differently, but it's almost like a video game where it's like, oh, I can earn all these points and then I redeem them for a reward. And you're getting a lot of bang for your buck when you do that, and it's super interesting to the participants because they're trying to like earn status or earn more. Last thought, they also can interact with each other on specific outlets like a forum. So for example, we just started a forum for first-time parents, and we're having people talk to each other about their experiences, so we can kind of like creep in the background and be like, what's going on over there, and try to find white spaces.
The other advantage of doing as many activities as we've done, and when you talked about the cleaning of the swimming pool,
yes,
those activities allowed us to continuously check for quality.
Yes.
Within the panel, and then it also just allowed us to maintain a high level of engagement so that we could turn around studies quickly.
Yes, because if people are expecting something every Thursday, they're gonna log on every Thursday and get excited about it, and then you've got a fill by Monday. All right, if you have any other questions, feel free to connect with us. Again, I'm Amanda, this is Dawn, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.